All right, we're going to walk you through some of the steps you're going to need to know to be able to install your SonarPhone Transducer, especially if you're interested in high-speed performance. This is what we call a skimmer-style transducer. It has a very small profile. You can install it externally on aluminum hulls, or you can glass in this transducer in a fiberglass hull. First, let's talk a little bit about the importance of a good transducer mount. You see, a lot of times people will blame it on the sonar if you're not getting a good reading, especially at high speed. Anytime, for example, if you mounted your transducer way out on the end of the boat and you turned one side or the other, you would lose your signal or you'd have your signal. If you have a big rooster tail shooting up, that's because your transducer is too far down in the water. The secret is to be able to understand that coming off the bottom of your boat is a smooth, slick area of water. And that's what you want to tap into with your SonarPhone. You want to make sure that this skimmer-style transducer is just touching that super slick water that's coming off the back of the boat. And the way you do that is with the use of a simple plank. Now, also, transducer placement is important. I've already mentioned that you don't want to put it way out on the outside edge because the boat will swing left or right and you will lose your signal. You'll want to put it as close to the keel or the center of the boat as possible. You're going to want to make sure you're not by any other obstructions in the hull, because any obstructions in the bottom of your hull will cause bubbles, and bubbles are your enemy. You want to find smooth, clear water when you're wanting to place your transducer. So you want to find these areas, and also you want to find an area that's not by a roller or a bunk, because many times you'll just snap off the transducer. Snapping off a transducer, by the way, is not covered under warranty, and they're $49. Simply take a plank, or in this case a 2x4, slap it to the bottom of the hull, and you can see this is going to simulate the smooth water shooting out straight out the back of the boat. You want to make sure that when you mount your transducer, you're just skimming the edge of the surface. You don't want it way down here because it'll catch too much water. You don't want it way up here because it'll have no contact with the water. Folks, you'd be surprised how many times I've seen transducers mounted way up here, and then they say, your SonarPhone is garbage because it doesn't work. Every time I get up about 15 miles an hour, it stops working. Well, folks, that's because the transducer comes out of the water. Transducers don't work out of the water. They have to be in the water for best results. Now, here's a little trick that I want you to try if you're still unsure about where to mount it in your boat. Is I've taken a small plank and I've actually installed my SonarPhone transducer on a plank. And what I've used is a simple wood clamp, and the C-clamp, I've mounted the plank to the back of the boat. This gives me a firm but temporary positioning point so I can experiment to make sure my transducer is set correctly. Now, please also understand that aluminum boats tend to be more sensitive for weight. So when you have two people in a boat, the boat will run differently. If you have all your gas tanks and batteries on one side of the boat, it will list to one side. In all cases, you're going to want to always put the transducer on the starboard side or the same side the steering wheel is on, because the boat more than likely will be listing that way, so make sure that you have better water contact. That's just a 101 on how to install a transducer in an aluminum boat.